Cool. Well, then let's get started.
Sure.
It is October 1st. It's Saturday. It's opening day of PitZone for coaches. I've gotten some emails with a few questions, but by and large, it's been really, really smooth. As our new league director, so for those of you that are new to the news that we have a new league director, let me take this time to introduce longtime listener, first time host of our podcast, Brian Russell, the new league director of the North Carolina Interscholastic Cycling League. Brian, tell everybody hello.
That is absolutely right, Sean. Hello, one to follow instructions, but opening day is always special, right? Pretty excited about season seven starting here. You know this, Sean. Maybe not a lot of other folks know. I'm a pretty early morning person. I was on PitZone this morning. I was doing my coach registration in there, and yeah, so far pretty smooth. No issues getting in there. Even getting some of my courses done. Hopefully, that's the experience for our coaches and team directors as they get in there today to start this next season. But coming in at a great time. Pretty excited to be stepping in this league, working with all the great people in the league as we embark on a new adventure for the season. Looking forward to it.
I think I was a little late on the upshot this morning. I think I didn't check my league email until 6 a.m. And I didn't see anything then, but I definitely kept checking and saw a couple of questions, good questions, nothing that was like panic mode or anything like that. It was just very specific, like I'm not sure about this thing, and did that. And I know there's been a lot of questions from coaches about the additional opportunities for OTBS 101, and I just want to briefly speak to that. We hold OTBS 101s in the preseason outside of that August coach training season if we get new teams joining the league. And what we do is we set up an OTBS 101 specifically for that team to train its coaches. They pick the venue, they pick a time that's convenient for them. We send two coach supporters to them to hold that. They have first right of refusal for the 10 seats for that session. Any seats that they don't fill, we will open up to the league. And that way, there is the opportunity for coaches that were unable to make OTBS 101 during the coach season, training season, to also get that OTBS 101 training. As of right now, we have three new teams joining the league. That means that there's the potential for us to have three additional OTBS 101s at dates to be determined and specified later. So, to answer the question, will there be opportunities? There will be. Are there any details other than that at this time? There are not. Hopefully, that will answer those questions, and we will be very forthcoming whenever we get more information and we know that there are seats available for coaches in the general league.
So pretty exciting, Sean. League expansion, some new teams coming on board. We are expecting some more student athletes this season. That's all kinds of super awesome. But I just did want to be public here to tell you, yes, I will still serve as a coach supporter for you. So you can lean on me, Sean, to continue some of those sessions out there. And I might, in fact, be more available than I was previously to do some of those trainings. And looking forward to that.
That is awesome. We our coach support staff. We have lost two of our coach supporters due to moves, or they're no longer being involved in the league. That isn't really a issue for us at this point. We have enough coach supporters, even if it's between you and I, and our availability to be able to serve the OTBS 101 needs that we have at this point. We are going to be trying to set up a training and recruiting more coach supporters. If you or a coach that you have on your team you think would be a good candidate for a coach supporter, or are interested in being a coach supporter, please reach out to me and let me know so that I can add you to a list and be planning ahead for a coach supporter training. Coach supporter training will not occur during the preseason or the regular season. We will do it after the regular season ends. So the earliest would be end of June through before August in our coach training session. So just let me know, and we can make sure that we not only replace the people that we've lost as coach supporters, but we kind of expand our coach supporter core so that we're able to offer more OTBS 101s. That's our goal, is to expand, and we want to continue moving forward with that.
It might be a good place here, Sean, just to put in a plug for our coach supporters. Those that attend the League Summit 19 and 20 November will see our current coach supporters. They'll be giving a lot of the instruction there. So it's more than just 101 instruction. Our coach supporters really do try and support the league in various ways. And so if you want an idea of what our coach supporters do, certainly come out to the League Summit 19-20 November, and you will meet all of our current coach supporters out there. And just while we're on the topic of League Summit, I've got most of the lodging information back. I've got the venue locked in, final touches on the contract with that. So I think here in the next week we'll be able to get those invites out via Eventbrite for our attendees, team directors, head coaches, certainly coaches from our new teams, right, Sean?
Yes.
Become understand what the league is all about, kind of how we do business here, so to speak, in North Carolina. I think it's a real good opportunity for our folks to attend that league summit in Rocky Mount, North Carolina, 19 and 20 November.
And from what I've heard, it's a fantastic venue. There's riding on site. There is a variety of restaurants, breweries, things like that on site. It's, I think, when our league staff went there to do a venue survey, they immediately were texting me just saying, like, this is where we've got to have our league summit. So I think that's really, really key. And while we're on that topic, so we've got level 2 and level 3 coaches that have been in those roles for 3 years at this point. And you may notice when you go into your PitZone profile that it doesn't update you to the license level that you think you should be. If you've been a level 2 or a level 3 coach, or a combination of the two, for 3 seasons, you have a CEU requirement that you have to meet in order to be recertified at that level. And the CEUs, so continuing education units, those are earned in a variety of ways. One of the ways will be the League Summit. That does provide you with a certain number of CEUs. We're still going to be working out how many that is, but anticipate it being around 6. Then there are other ways that you can earn those CEUs. There is new in PitZone this year a adventure program coach training that if you take that, that will earn you 2 CEUs. If you are a level 3 coach who needs additional CEUs, if you redo the level 1 and let's stick with level 1 first. If you redo the level 1 certification video training, that will earn you 2 CEUs. And if you redo the level 2, that will earn you 4 CEUs. So within PitZone, you have the ability to earn 8 CEUs at this point if you need them. And then I can certainly point you in the direction of a couple of other places where you can get some online CEUs as well. The NFHS, National Federation of High School Sports, they have places that you can get on their website for free and do little trainings that are worth 1 or 2 CEUs. So there's lots of opportunities for you to be able to knock that out fairly easily. But the League Summit also will be a place where you can get a bunch of CEUs. And over and above the credit that you would earn, the offerings that we have on offer for the League Summit are going to be really different from things that we typically are exposed to in NICA and coaching in general. And I think it will be very worthwhile for anyone who attends to see those sessions. One of the ones that I'm working on is going to be a PitZone 101 for head coaches and team directors, a lot of the questions that I get from coaches, from head coaches, from team directors are things that team directors and head coaches have access to within PitZone, but it takes a lot of exploration on your own to find where all of that is. And I really want to just sit down and kind of give everyone a primer on here's how you can get the most out of your experience with PitZone and be able to answer a lot of the questions yourself for telling your coaches and your student athletes what they need to know to be prepared and ready. One of the issues that we saw in the past few seasons has been this issue of coaches not being fully licensed in PitZone and participating in team practices and team events, and student athletes not being fully registered in PitZone and participating in team activities and team practices. Those two things are very problematic, and we want to make sure that you all are armed with the information that you need. In telling you right now the things to watch for is that any coach profile in your PitZone dashboard that has a red exclamation by their name, they are not able to participate in team activities, team practices, team events, anything like that, because they're not fully registered in PitZone and they have not met the requirements for level 1 licensure or above. The other is to make sure that you're double checking those license levels. They are subject to change throughout the season as various trainings expire. For instance, if a coach is level 3 and their first aid certification expires, let's say February 15th, after February 15th, they are set to level 0, which is someone that cannot participate in league activities or team activities, and they can get back to being right as a level 1 by finishing that level 1 certification training, but they'll only be a level 1. Even though they were previously level 4, they don't get to function as a level 4 if their current license level is level 1. The only way to do that would be for them to recertify their first aid, CPR, or whatever they need. I know that can be a little confusing. What I would like to see is team directors, if you will, sort of do a double check through each week on, let's say, Saturday or Sunday, just to see what your coaches' license levels are looking like. That would be very helpful to them and to your team. Anything that is set to expire this season will be in yellow, and when it's 30 days away from being expired, it will turn red. And whenever it's red, it needs to be dealt with before it goes away, really, pretty much. We want to make sure that everyone's license is current whenever they're participating with teams. Anything you want to add to that, Brian?
Yeah, a couple things come to mind, and thanks for all the reminders on licensing. And as I'm sitting there this morning doing my NICA philosophy and values and risk management, that's the training all of our coaches are going to do. That's why it's important. Is we want to make sure our kids are safe out there on the trails, and certainly no one is having the core value of fun if you're injured and missing the season. So yeah, we want to do right by all of our student athletes, and so that's why we emphasize these things. I want to come back to League Summit just a little bit, because I think that is a wonderful opportunity in terms of a two-way street. We are certainly going to try and provide all those coaches some great information and training, but it's an opportunity to hear from them too. What are they dealing with down at the team level? What are their ideas for the league? Sean, I'm all of 3 weeks in the job, trying to listen to as many people as possible. Where do we want to take our league? What do we want to do? How do we get more kids on bikes in North Carolina? And let me just use this as an opportunity to announce not necessarily a change in one of our core staff positions, but kind of a modification. Shell Frost, everyone knows very well across this league as our grid coordinator. She has agreed to be our programs director. She is going to help us think through, what do we want out of adventure riding? What do we want out of Team Trail Core? And so you mentioned the adventure module there, Sean. I was looking at that this morning. I think that's a very good module for all of our coaches to get in and do. But I think by League Summit, we'll have some ideas on where we want to take adventure and Team Trail Core this season. And let's have a two-way dialogue on that with our team directors and head coaches on what is in the realm of feasible for season 7, and then an eye to the future and how we continue to grow those programs. Just the initial feedback I've heard from a lot of folks is kids that want those other opportunities, not just the racing, but hey, I just want to have a great ride or I want to give back to the trails. I think those are two wonderful programs. And I'll just say here that it's my intent to make sure we're using those programs and giving those opportunities for those kids. So again, public pronouncement here, Shell Frost, our programs director for the North Carolina League. Again, she's going to help us think that through. And Sean, maybe we invite Shell back on as a podcast guest here in a couple episodes to talk some of those things through before the league summit.
Absolutely, absolutely. I couldn't be happier about Shell moving into that role. If she does half as well with those things as she's done with grit, it will be amazing. So I'm really excited about all the opportunities that we're going to be able to afford student athletes and that expansion of the idea of what it means to be in NICA, from racing to all these other things that really encompass what I feel like is the well-rounded mountain biker. You know, the well-rounded mountain biker being the one that races, that rides for fun, but also does trail work to give back. You know, that really to me encompasses what it means to be a mountain biker and embrace that as your lifestyle. And I'm really excited about that.
Yeah, absolutely. Can't talk highly enough about Shell and everything she's done with the GRIT program. Last weekend, I was able to get out to Hendersonville, North Carolina. Shell was running the first GRIT clinic of the season, brought in her ambassadors and her mentors. Those girls have some phenomenal ideas for our league, Sean, and it was great to hear everything they're thinking about to expand not only their program but the league writ large. But hey, word of warning, Sean, they're already thinking of how they do a GRIT podcast. So
They've already been contacting me, so
I,
yeah.
that does not surprise me at all. They are very aggressive in their pursuit of expanding the program for sure.
They are amazing in how they get an idea. And you know, a lot of people have great ideas but don't act on them, but they seem to come up with ideas and then just put all of their energy into making them happen, and that's such an awesome thing to see. I, at this point, really just want to encourage coaches, make sure head coaches and team directors that you are submitting those team proposals. That link was shared with you yesterday evening, and that you are getting in and getting registered. So this is something that's a little new this year. We are asking that head coaches and team directors be fully registered in PitZone before we take a look at approving their team proposal. This is so that we know that the people in charge are fully set up in PitZone and ready to go. This does not mean that your license level has to be appropriate to what your role is in your team. So, for instance, if you are a team like mine that is been around all 7 seasons, as a head coach, I'm required to be, well, excuse me, as the team director, I'm just required to be a level 1. My wife, as the head coach, is required to be a level 3. She doesn't need to be a level 3 to be able to submit that team proposal. Just that she needs to have completed the registration process in PitZone, paid her fee, and is at least a level 1. Then as teams start to have the activities that they would normally have in preseason or regular season, then you have to have your license level appropriate for your role on the team and what you're doing in that practice or preseason. With that being said, please, you know, the registration process is pretty simple. Get through that. Go ahead and initiate your background check. And then when you're good to go, submit those team proposals and we'll be ready. The deadline for the $20 team fee is October 31st. November 1st, that will go up to a $140 fee. And then November 30th is the last date that you can register a team. So be aware of all of those deadlines. Then December 1st will be when regular season starts. The only other date to bear in mind right now is that student athletes will be able to get into PitZone and be able to start registration on October 15th. Right now, as you get in, you may see your student athletes not in their appropriate categories. I've got middle school athletes that have moved to high school, but they're still appearing in my middle school team. That will all be being taken care of over the next few days by our awesome core staff member, Heike Biller. She will be getting all of that stuff updated and ready to go. So there's no need for you to worry about like letting us know that. We are aware, we are working on it. We just couldn't get started on that until PitZone opened up as well. So all of that is kind of dependent on PitZone opening up on October 1st, and now that process is underway. Anything else you can think of that we need to add to that, Brian?
No, thanks for mentioning Heike. She's doing great work for us too, and yeah, she's going to work on that. So again, no need to contact us right away. I'd say by the end of October, we'll have everyone where they should be in terms of categories as both coaches and students register. I think that was a great point to bring up.
Definitely. Well, there's a couple of really important things that we need to kind of get in before we finish out our podcast. And we normally don't like to end on a really serious note, but this one I think is really crucial to you and your new role as league director, and that is where do you stand on wireless electronic disc brakes? Because that is, I think, a question that, not just myself, but I think pretty much everybody in the league really wants to hear from you.
Sean, where is the GoFundMe page, man? I mean, like, how do we get this started?
Thank you. I'll let you in as a Series A investor,
Yeah,
and we can discuss that off podcast. But
in early, it's going to go.
Exactly. I just can't even. Yeah, it's beyond words.
Sure.
Well, with that important bit out of the way, I think it's time to segue into dad jokes, and I'll get started. So, what's green, fuzzy, has 4 legs, and will kill you if it falls out of a tree?
I'm drawing a blank on this one.
Okay, so I'll speak slowly because I think that might help. And no offense, you're still a Marine, so I will enunciate clearly and slow down. What's green?
I might need a picture, Sean.
Fuzzy.
If you're gonna go with Marine jokes, pictures and crayons.
Crayon has 4 legs and will kill you if it falls out of a tree. A pool table.
Certainly. The green threw me, having several Australian friends. Have you ever heard of the drop bears?
No, what are the
Koala
drop bears?
They have pictures with real long claws.
Oh yeah, koala bears.
Out
Yeah.
of the side of the mouth. The Australians like picking on us Americans when we go down under for training down there.
Nice.
Drop bears.
All right, so let's. This is your first one, so you got to get out of the gate really good.
I'm not sure it's going to be good. This is what I tried on those poor grit ambassadors last week, and it
They're a tough crowd. I'm just going to say they're a tough crowd.
For the sake of either inclusivity or equity, I'll share with the whole league here these dad jokes. And this is probably a repeat from before, but what's the difference between a unicycle and a tricycle?
What's the difference between a unicycle and a tricycle? I have no idea.
Tire. A tire. Yeah, they didn't take kindly to that one. I grant, but I have one more. It's more like puns, like dad puns. You ready?
Okay, dad puns. This is even better.
It was trying to redeem myself, but I said that I had changed my very last set of mountain bike tires because I thought it was time for their retirement. Oh, there's more, Sean.
I think that's enough for this podcast.
No, and they're wheelie expensive.
Oh, okay.
So there you have it. That's what the league director can bring to the table.
All right, so that's what we can expect. All right.
Yeah,
Excellent. Well, thank you, Brian. It's been a pleasure, and I hope that everyone has a great experience with registering in PitZone. As always, if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me, Sean, SHAWN, at northcarolinamtb.org, and I will get back to you as quickly as possible. I check my email multiple times a day just to be able to field questions, and I am here to help.
Excited to get the season started, Sean. Thanks for having me on. This has been awesome.
Excellent. All
See ya.
right. We will stop recording.